Can I hear your wow again? I feel like you're like a Southern...
wow.
Yeah, wait, no. What's his name? Oh, it's like a Southern Owen Wilson. The female is Southern Owen Wilson.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Yes, hello and welcome to the Pop-Up with Paul and Friends. You're back, or you're here for the first time. Regardless, you're listening, you're watching, and we're grateful you're here. Guys, each week we're doing fun episodes right here in my garage studio that looks like a kind of cave that you don't know where we are, but we're in a cool spot with all antiques that I found from the garbage that then I put in here, and I said, this is a good hang. I'm having a great time in here. One of the best things about starting a podcast and also doing this is kind of getting connected with other people doing it, and then we start to share each other's podcasts, share each other's guests. I think my dream for this too, being a comedian in LA, is like setting that type of scene up. I see a lot of big comics, headliners, touring comics that started this a while ago themselves and then went on to be able to kind of share it with their friends. I have a dream of that for me and for my friends doing comedy here in LA and across the country. And I feel like because we started, that it started to happen. My guest this week is an incredible comedian who you can see performing at the world famous Comedy Store all the time. She also performs all over town, all over the country. And she has an amazing new podcast called Not Cool, even though she is very cool. And I saw this podcast and I was like, hey, you got a new podcast? And she said, hey, you got a new podcast. And this is what I love about doing this is comedians and people who are hustling in this way. She was willing and grateful and cool enough to come by. She's a great interviewer herself. She's a great comedian. I mean, she just had on Margaret Cho, Mark Maron, Bobby Lee, Jason Mraz. I mean, she's having some fantastic guests. I actually want to maybe have her back and then book her booker for my show. I'm going to steal her booker. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for the very cool Sarah Hyland. The true testament to you is that we've never met and you came to this weird location with a locked door to hang out with me. Thank you for being here, Sarah.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
It's amazing to meet you.
It's amazing to meet you, actually.
You know what I love about you at first meeting is your energy is so fun. Your comedy is hilarious. And there's something like, there's a good level of weird to you that just comes across right away, but also from your comedy. Like, have you always kind of considered yourself comedically like, I'm a little off in the weird sense, or is that a right title for you?
It's so off. Yeah, it's funny, Paul. I was just thinking about this today. It came into my head, like when I did my first college, right? I think it was in Missouri, in the boonies of Missouri, and it was in this a theater. And the reason I got booked on this job was because at that time I was like blowing up on YouTube. It's like when YouTube first came out and like my videos went viral and went crazy. So, college kids were like, fuck yeah, YouTube, so I went and I didn't have an hour of stand-up. Like they hired me to do an hour of stand-up. There was no warm-up, there was no nothing. It was just me. And I want to say it was a religious college on top of that. So I was like, oh. So I remember, because I didn't have an hour, so I would really customize every show that I would make it up like before I went. Like I would look up, I love researching things and finding out what is important to them. So I looked like their mascot, like who the other team was, what their school, So I literally made an outfit. I made an outfit that was like similar to their mascot.
Wow.
And I came out on stage. And like it had feathers. It had feathers on it, and I did like Sharpie marker on it. I made a hat. Like,
wow.
I really went in. Like I don't know if it's like an art school background. I don't know, because I love making things. I love like customizing it. That's why I like doing podcasts and interviews, because I love learning about what's important to people and who they are. But I did that on a grander scale, like doing these college shows. I can't tell you what even happened for that hour. And the fact that I came out in like feathers, like, what are you doing?
Well, you're just starting. You want to please everybody. I feel like you probably did a great job and you're not giving yourself enough credit. I'm sure you got laughs all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it worked. The great thing is that, when people bring you, they're on your side. They want you to be funny.
Right.
And I think the great thing is the foot that I was jumping off of, because doing characters on YouTube, they were already off. Like the characters that I do are already just a smidge like psychotic. And so I think it was like stomachable for the audience to be like, okay, this chick is weird as fuck, you know, and like I'm either for you or not, whatever, but like it's at least entertaining, and at least like I think at that time it's like, oh wow, okay, she put effort into a feather suit. I'm gonna hang with this chick.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I guess I've never ever felt like a normal to stand up. Like I've always,
because it's boring.
You know, I've always felt very like I've had to create my own thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and when I first started, I mean, I always kind of joked that I was kind of like Carrot Top, who has a bad rap. He's funny, you guys.
Yeah.
And so I think he's funny. He killed me with that Wendy's bit. But so, and he's also a gazillionaire. He's crazy. But anyway, but I remember I used to in like all these little rooms in Los Angeles. Like I had a giant big head that I sewed together with with like pillow stuffing and pillowcases, and I painted the shit. I put hair on it. I put earlobes because it was something I made a character of my uncle.
Oh my gosh, a character.
A character.
Yeah.
But I brought those to the show, and I would full on do it with props.
That's amazing.
But it's weird because at that time, I think either I was so naive or so didn't really care. There wasn't an example of what it's supposed to be like for me, like that I just did it and it made people laugh. And the longer that I've done it, the less I've done of that.
Why? Why do you think that is? Do you find that like other things have worked over the years, or you just feel like you started that way and you want to leave it and do a new thing?
I think, I mean, just like anything, like if you continue to stay alive and live, you change, you know, like it's just, if you just stay alive, like eventually, like you're going to transform and keep doing that. But like, but I think for me, like my own discipline was like, Sarah, you gotta write a stand-up set. You can't just go up and like wing it. Like you can't just show up as like a character and improvise and like see how it goes and hope the magic happens, because it's also anxiety inducing. Like that is so, because it's kind of a free fall.
Sure, but isn't there magic in that horrible adrenaline anxiety of not knowing what's going to work sometimes? Is that part of why we do stand up in a way? I don't know. I wonder.
Yes.
Like I say, like jumping into the deep end. Like I'm gonna just try this thing.
Yeah.
And you know the feeling when it doesn't work.
It's
so the worst thing ever.
Horrible.
It's like watching your whole family like in a plane crash. It's a dark It's a dark one, but
go dark. It's fine.
Yeah.
I have such a dark side.
Do you? That's the feeling. Yeah. That's the feeling of bombing, I think. I guess I just thought of a plane bombing now. Maybe that's where I went. That was an easy example for bombing on stage.
I went to like physical pain. I'm like, just rip my skin off and burn my intestines.
Oh,
what happened?
That's
like,
how it feels.
That's where I go. Like I'm telling you, like I say things that like I'll rewatch podcasts or rewatch things that I do. I'm like, what is wrong with? Stop saying that.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I'm like, I'm gonna throw myself in front of a bus.
Yeah. That's the challenge with like I try not to watch myself back too. It's a weird thing. We want people to watch. Yeah. But then we watch and we are very critical, right? Yeah.
But it's also good. Yeah. It's also everything that I force myself to do. In stand up, I have to force myself to do it sometimes. And I have to force myself to do anything creative. Like a lot of times. And like even with the podcast, I won't even listen to a voicemail from myself. Interesting. I'm like, oh, is that your voice? Wow. Squeaky. Huh.
I love your voice because you still have South in you, but you're not like very South. You're like a medium South. You're mild. You're not spicy.
Yeah. Well, that if you go, so I'm from Kentucky.
I know, yeah.
So it's a Kentucky. It's a if you go deep South Kentucky, deep East Kentucky, even deep West Kentucky, like it's a very concentrated, thick accent, very Tennessee border accent. But where I'm from, Louisville, it's a northern part. We're right across from Indiana and Ohio. So, and it's not, we don't know what to describe our accents there. Because sometimes in Louisville, where I'm from, like you hear people that are super, super intense. Like my mom had a pretty big accent. My brother has a very intense accent. But then some people have nothing. So it's kind of interesting, isn't it?
You're a blend. Yeah, it's a blend. It's a blend.
It's a blend.
Well,
yeah.
I feel like I naively look at the South, that like we pull it together, and we shouldn't because I'm from Jersey. So I just go like, you're really South.
Yeah.
But they're all so different dialects. It's dialects of everywhere. I want to tell you, I was looking you up today and just watching some of your stuff, and you talk about your characters. I love your characters, and I think that's a testament to your comedy. And also, I watched one of your oldest YouTubes. I think it was you talking about working at Starbucks, doing a bit about one of your family members.
Oh boy!
It was from a long time ago.
At the Comedy Store, it was like my first.
Okay, it was great.
My first 8-minute set. Yeah.
I'll remind you of this because I think it's interesting. Because I read also you said you started doing characters to make your family laugh.
Yes.
So, and then you're describing your early time of doing characters. That's also the gift you were given that you still bring to the world now. Do you feel that way like many years later? Because how long have you been doing it?
Well, that's a layered question.
I do too many of those.
So it's great.
It's the matcha.
No, it's great. And espresso. No, it's a great question, and thanks for doing the research. That means a lot to me.
Yeah.
I started doing. I still do comedy, and I still do everything that I do to hopefully help people feel better.
Sure.
And not as alone, and not as weird, and not as like, I don't dig separateness, and I don't dig like isolate. I'm like, look, it's all good, man. But it also comes from, so when I was a kid, as I don't know your generation, but like we grew up and all of our parents worked. Like it was a latchkey generation, everybody. And my family, my family was nuts. Like, my parents have been divorced several times to and from one another.
Wow.
They got remarried for the 5th time 20 years ago, and that one stuck.
Oh, wow.
But there's been like 4 divorces, it's 11, it's crazy. So when I would get home from school, meaning that the house was always tense, like there was always some, too tense for my comfortability. And so what I did to break the tension is I would get home from school and I would go into their closet. There was dad's clothes on one side, mom's clothes on the other side. And so I would pick from their clothing in their closet, and I would dress up and I would become the character of the day. So that when they got home, like they'd come up the steps and I'd be like, well, look who's home, and like, and have pigtails and shit. And my mom was like, are you, you're goofy, And so, but it would make her laugh, and she'd get the little camera out, the disposable camera.
Sure.
And I just, if I could make her laugh and just release that tension in the house, like that was the goal.
Yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed playing dress up, and we're not even talking like 5 years old. I was like grade school.
Well, okay,
grade school to high school.
Yeah.
I would make things up. I would put like bruises on my face with my mom's eyeshadow and be like, I'm going to fight,
what's
and
up?
like
The Jets.
Yeah, and I would wear a bruise to school for weeks and be like, my brother fucking hit me, and carry on that fantasy, aka a lie, for the entire, just to create some sort of alternate reality.
That's amazing. Its imagination is incredible.
Yeah,
Think
it's
about
cool.
how you did that, and then how you use it now in your life.
Yeah.
To make other people laugh. It's kind of a beautiful version of that.
Yeah.
And also, you made me think, describing that and also seeing your clip and reading about you, I thought about, because I never thought about why I do this either, really. Like, I've been that introspective about comedy. Other things, right? Like, I'm introspective in my relationships, but making my parents laugh still to this day is probably the best laugh.
Yep.
Like, it's the best laugh. And is it, like, messed up that we feel that way? I don't know. But, like, I know because they came to a show recently in New York. And I was, like, nervous because I'm just new doing this again. And I remember hearing my dad in New York in a packed club, and I was like, wow. Like, this is a great show. Like, we're still kids hoping we make our parents laugh, right?
100%.
It's so funny. At least we could talk about it and be open about it. But it's true, yeah.
Oh,
it's also a beautiful thing. Like, you want your mom to have the ease of tension in that moment, you know?
Yeah.
It's cool.
Well, and still to this day, like my dad is, and he is the funniest dude I've ever met. Like, and it is like, he's also a hard laugh, right? And so it's like, if I can make him laugh, I mean, yeah, of course, like, there's some, I'm sure, psychoanalytical kind of thing or Freudian thing about that. I am 100% positive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a shit. Like, it's still funny. Like, I'll still, till the day I'm dead in the ground, like, I'll still, getting my dad to laugh. I'm like,
it's the best.
I'm killing it.
Yeah.
Crushing.
Yeah.
Or, like, I used to do stand-up shows in my hometown. And when you do that, they pack it with all your family.
Sure.
Right? And and the reason I even made that giant head that I was talking about, that was my Uncle Mark, right? Like and I did that to to make him laugh about himself, whether he did or not. And my uncles, his brothers, and the fact that I killed in that room, which was all
Everyone.
of my family, that's the shit. That, for whatever the motive is behind it, doesn't really matter.
No.
I think, people, I don't know. I hear that all the time, stand-up is supposed to be this, and this now, but it's yeah, you get on stage and you take that position with a mic or whatever, to kind of give people the opportunity, because they paid, first off, and to give people an opportunity to take a break from their own bullshit.
I think don't you feel like we're getting away from that in a way? Like, you go to comedy shows now and it's almost like lectures that aren't even they're not even, and look, I'm not at the level I want to be at in stand up, but I am old school in that way. There should be no rules. You make people laugh, that's what it is, right? I mean, rules obviously don't want to offend populations. I'm not talking about that stuff. I mean, I want to laugh and forget. I hit a point in the past few years, I don't know how you've been on stage, where I was trying to be funny about COVID, and then after a while I was like, I don't even, it's just, we're still talking. You know what? You know what's funny? My daughter, I'm yelling about changing a diaper or something, whatever's in my life.
Yeah.
Because I want to avoid, the darkness of that time in a way up there. And I think that's what people are craving now more than ever. Yeah. We want light, we want funny, we want to laugh. I feel like the clubs are that way now more than they have ever been. But that could be narcissistic just because I'm doing it more. I don't know. It could have always been good.
No.
I don't know.
No, but, I think I'll bring him up because he taught me a lot. But Bobby Lee, I adore him. And, I love him. But I remember because I was first starting stand-up, and he, I would feel I would think of these crazy imaginative stories and jokes. And because, I'm like, what about a joke where everybody pays with shit and feathers? What do you... Please, literally. And I would do these huge stories, right? Yeah. And he's like, Sarah, listen. He's like, he would just tell me over and over. He's like, stick to meat and potatoes. Yeah. Meat and potatoes. Do things and talk about things that people worldwide can relate to. Relationships. And it may sound like, oh, that's uncreative or that's boring or whatever. But my experience and when I'm more myself and more real and just, talking about my life, and usually the things I negate or I steer away from, even my own relationships, my family, my personal life, I've never talked about that on stage. Because I was like, it's not funny.
Right, because it hurts.
Because I'm in it,
I get that. I totally get that.
Yeah, so therefore I'd create more extravagant things like these costumes and stuff like that to kind of get away from that. Mm-hmm. But, when I watch comedy, the things that I laugh at is the meat and potatoes. Yeah. It's the stuff about relationships that are the nook and crannies that I hold in me that, people, let the air out of it. And so it that's what gets me.
That's why I also think makes everyone unique on stage. Everyone can, if you bring your vulnerabilities, it's solely you. How many years did it take you to feel, because I feel like I'm at a place 4 or 5 years, I'm just starting to actually talk about my life. I'm not just trying to be a guy who's funny. I'm actually this is what's inside in my relationship. But it took me 4 or 5 years to be comfortable with even being that vulnerable in that setting. take you a couple years to like break
A
through?
couple. I just started doing that.
Oh yeah.
A couple.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's hard.
I just now started doing that, and it took I would say a pretty massive life event for me to be like, fuck it, like what am I doing? And one, like I said, the painful part of like making myself watch my podcast so I can get the, if there's something I need to edit out or whatever. It's the same thing with stand-up. Like, I've had to painfully watch I mean, it is cringing to me to watch myself. I'm like, oh, I want to, punch myself in the forehead. But it also took that, like, watching it, like, oh, here we go. One more blowjob joke. Wow, Sarah. Wow. That is brilliant. Where did you come up with that? Like, where you get to a point, you're like, stop.
Yeah.
Just
change it up.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Like, what are you even talking about, And so that's one part of it.
Yeah.
Is that, I got so sick of my own bullshit.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, wow, talking about oh, you're explaining teabagging. Wow. Which can be funny, but if it's your whole act, like,
Yeah.
Stop.
The self-awareness around your material can be really painstaking.
Yes.
You have to figure it out and improve it.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's also our egos too. Like if it works, it's really hard to remove yourself and be like, that's not really, there's something I could do better than that, or change that, or make it funnier and more true to me than just for the laugh, whatever it is,
Yeah.
Can I hear your wow again? I feel like you're like a Southern.
Wow.
Yeah. Wait, no. What's his name? Oh, it's like a Southern Owen Wilson. The female is Southern Owen Wilson.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. We gotta get you in some movies. You're gonna be the female Southern Owen Wilson.
I've never done an Owen Wilson. Wow. Is that good?
Wow. Can you? I mean, I read a stat. I think that he makes like how many $100,000 just on that phrase. If you think about how many times he said it in movies. Wow. I got a dog. Wow.
Wow.
What was that movie with him with the dog?
I don't know what I'm doing. Wow.
Marley. Wow. I can't do him. I mainly just do.
Even that one sentence.
I mainly just do old school Italian voices. Do you do voices? Like you do voices, obviously, they're characters, but
I do
what's your go-to? What's your go-to voice?
It's always deep South. It's easy.
Yeah?
Yes. Yeah. Wow. Now I have that. Wow. Yeah, that's definitely the easiest.
Do you have a town drunk growing up?
Did I have it?
Like
my
the
dad.
town drunk.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, there it is. All right.
So.
Sorry, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's funny because it's true.
There you go. The vulnerable.
That's what I'm
the vulnerable
saying.
hits. That was a
Didn't
good.
even try to make it funny. It's just
it's true.
the truth.
I
Yeah.
know. That's
I
funny.
used to get in a lot of fights at White Castles. I remember that. That was a big.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was it. Yeah. So there's
That's
that.
the town drunk. I just think of that like that's a good go-to impression, like the drunk uncle, drunk dad.
Is it?
I don't know. I like that character in my head.
Do you have that character?
No, I mean, sort of. My grandfather was a drunk too.
Okay.
But I'm trying to think. I mean, no, I don't really do characters. That's why I'm intrigued by your stuff, because I want to be better at that. Like I like learning from people like you. You're so good at them.
Well, I appreciate that.
You are.
I haven't, but it's on my little journey. Like I've gotten away from doing characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've think in the past, probably in the past couple years, I've been in a more serious zone of myself, where I've kind of haven't done characters. Like I used to do them all the time, every video. I mean, every chance I had, I would make a video, and which is, now that I'm talking about, I'm like, why'd you stop doing that?
Well, it's like seasonal in a way, probably for you.
It is. No, it's all part of it. It's all part of living. It's part of the process. It's part of taking a step back. It's the same thing with stand-up. It's like we were just talking about. It's like, I don't want to do 10 minutes of talking about blowjobs. As funny as they can be, maybe 2 minutes. But can we try something else the next 8? So, and now that's what so just as of late, like I've started actually talking about, I mean, it's still funny and it's still a little bit obviously exaggerated, but, talking about my family, talking about, just things that are closer to home, like being an artist, like what that's about, but obviously with making it funny, but like just kind of things that are my own experience that I know that if I just talk about it, somebody's got to fucking relate to it.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
So, and that just started happening.
That's great. Well, that's inspiring to hear from me because I feel like I'm trying to get on that wavelength now too.
Yeah.
Just trying to be more real. And also I think that's what people respond to.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, for sure. More
it's
than
fun.
ever.
It's fun to hide behind stuff that is easier and surfacey. You know, like I'm trying to change my material now. I know what I could do 10 minutes. I think that will do okay. But I don't know if you get to know me at all. That's like I still am in the precipice of like, should I show my cards, you know?
But that's okay too.
Yeah.
Like I don't expect if you have 10 minutes on stage. Like it's totally fine if you do 10 minutes of things that are superficial, but if you made them laugh,
sure, yeah.
That's your job.
Well, I think you get stuck trying to define yourself and stand up early on when you just have to keep working at it until you get your thing, you know, your voice, and you just, you know, keep chiseling and then it evolves. Every comic continues to evolve. I feel. That's why I love it. That's why I'm like hooked in now.
It's crazy.
Like it's never going to end. I'm going to be trying to get better forever. And you got people all ages, all levels, always doing it. There's some like pull to that, even though there's like 10,000 of us in LA. It's cool to be doing it now here. I like that I'm here doing it. It's cool. It's a cool vibe.
I mean, I know I just did a show the other night at the Comedy Chateau, and that's what's great. Like, I think age-wise, there was probably 20 years old all the way up to, I think the oldest guy was like 82, and the 82-year-old killed it. He did all crowd work.
Was he wearing a suit?
Yes.
I think I've done a show with that guy.
I don't remember.
I like that.
Yeah.
Old school suit guy.
Old school suit guy.
Yeah.
And you like, you know, you're in the green room, you're like, what is this dude gonna?
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah. Wow.
And he goes out and kills it, and literally the entire set is crowd work, and he killed, and people loved him. But he's a lovable dude. Like he's just doing his jam.
Yeah.
He's in his 80s. He's like, fuck all you all. I've lived.
I know.
And I'm gonna say what I want.
I want to get. I'm sensing I'm near there. So I want to get there sooner. I want to get to the F it, y'all, which is not healthy for my family and my wife probably, but that's a good place to get to in life. I feel like I'm closer to that at a younger age lately, with things that have happened. I'm like, F it, let's go.
What's getting you there though?
What do you mean?
Because it like, for me,
perspective-wise?
yeah, like because I think everybody hits a. Well, I can only speak for myself. I know that for me, I'm like a slow roll. Like I have everything has come. I didn't understand a lot in my 20s, and there's some people who own 7 businesses in their 20s, right? They like graduated from Juilliard and they're crushing it. I was like, what the, that's not my story. It hasn't been my trajectory, like none of it. So for me, like lots of life has had to kick my ass in order for me to get to a place where I'm like, you know what? I love y'all. I love people who come. I love anybody who likes my stuff.
Yeah.
Like anybody who gets it, I'm like, that's dope. I connect with you. But I also have got to stop caring so much about what people think about me in this 10 minutes while I'm on stage.
Sure.
Like, it's so paralyzing, and nobody wins. I don't win.
Yeah.
And the audience doesn't win. So it's like it's taken a lot of life stuff and my own inner pain, for me to be like, that's enough. That's it. And to do the work or take risks to be like, you know what? F it. I'm going to go up there and I'm going to try this stuff and then see how it goes. But
it's a metaphor for life, though. Like, I feel more unhinged as a person doing stand-up more. Like, I'll fight with my neighbor if they're doing something I don't like because I'm like, I do stand-up. I say it like it is. It's how I feel now for some reason. There's some energy about that also I think is good for your life. Yeah. Because there's like no BS. It might be because I'm new to LA and I feel like I need to tell people like to their eyeballs like how they're wrong.
Yeah.
Because
it's just fun. People need it here.
You know what I mean? Like, people like feel like don't always tell people things. They're kind of like this about conflict unless you're driving.
You mean that you're like more East Coast about it? You're like, let's talk about it.
I'm like friendly abrasive, and also friendly like abrasive. Like if I think I need to tell you you're doing something wrong, like, I shouldn't be that way. Like it's dangerous. Someone's gonna shoot me here. But
I don't know, man. I don't know. I get a little I don't know what to call my region, but like LA people, I think sometimes can be rude.
Yeah.
And they don't do thank you waves here. They don't acknowledge if you let them in. They don't.
Yeah. Well, no one lets you in here.
They do not. That is to me, as Jen, that's
They
the
don't allow
one
it.
thing that gets me. I'm like,
too.
what, where,
Do you know
what
my
did you
analogy,
get?
You know my analogy is for that?
What?
It's life lane. It's like success and fame in LA. If you're in one lane
Yeah.
and you are ahead of somebody in your lane, this is metaphoric, but it's also on the freeway, and you want to go ahead of the lane next to you
Yeah.
because you have space, they want to get ahead so you can't get into their same lane. And they want to go past you. That's literally how it is here to me. And it's in the cars, it's the people a lot of
It's
time.
so crazy.
Like,
to
don't
me.
get in my lane. Even though you're technically ahead of me, I'm not going to allow you to have the space.
Yep.
It's driving, but I try to be an optimist about, like, I'm so grateful for the things I'm doing out here, and I just see it as, like we're talking about, like, work on myself, see it as an opportunity. But coming from the East Coast and being fresh to here, I do feel like I'm more aggressive with people because I'm just like, don't be soft and not like, don't like admit that you just did something dumb in public. Like, you better admit it to me. I'm gonna make sure you know. Which I could. I have 2 kids. Like, it's dangerous. Like, I shouldn't be yelling at people here, but it's
a fine line to walk.
a fine line. Do you find that you've kept? Is the Southern hospitality thing? You seem that way from meeting you, that you have that with everything. But is that something that doesn't go away with how you see the world, being here for so long?
I'm trying to lose a little of it. I can't get rid of it. I've been in Los Angeles for 20 years. I've been away from Kentucky for 24 years.
Whoa.
And it's a part of me, like, that's what I mean. Sometimes I'm like, you're too nice. Stop being so nice.
Yeah.
Like, stop. Like, I literally have had that argument my whole life where I'm like, you got to toughen up and be meaner and, like, whatever, like, and I've definitely swung, like, I've tried to go in. There's no middle ground. I just go right to the other extreme where I'm a cunt. Do you know what I mean? You're like, you're just a bitch, but I'm like, I'm trying to be me.
I'm standing up for me.
Yeah. And, like, but it is naturally, yes, ingrained in me. My mom was like this. My family's like this. They're very sweet people.
I love that about where you're
Truly.
from. That's something that's good.
It is good, and it's an interesting kind of tug of war I've played a lot with myself, especially in a place like Los Angeles, where I can't wrap my head around a lot of things that go on here. Like, I can't, like, Jen, even with, like, the friends and trying to have friends in the business and trying to, just be friends, because I don't, I always check my motives. I'm like, do I have crappy motives? Because it's a lot of people think, like, and I don't. Like, I just generally like people. I don't care if people are famous or not famous. That's never been part of my thing.
Me too. I'm similar.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's human to human.
Human.
I just think it's a bubble of entertainment here that priorities shift to, like, that being the focus. I've never been in the clique, though. Like, I've been around Hollywood for years, but even my whole life, I feel like I haven't been, like, in the clique of the right people.
Yeah.
I don't think that's not our purpose, to hope people approve of us and think we're cool. I mean, I don't know. That's at least my thing. Unless you're in the audience and you're laughing. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. But I mean, like, the clique part of it, I don't know. I don't know if it's...
Well, I was never, but even growing up, though, I was never part of a clique.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, like, I didn't grow up where there's no hierarchies. And even I don't know, I didn't have that example or dynamic anywhere in my life that people were better or less than.
Right. I'm similar. What was the, like, example of success in Louisville? And I'm sorry, my guess is a guy driving around with a car made out of bats. That's of course people are going to say that.
Of bats. The
Sorry,
Louisville Slugger
I had
bats.
one. I had one in Jersey.
No, it's great. I'm so proud that the Louisville Slugger bats
cool.
are made
They
there.
were
We
awesome.
have a museum there with
they're...
like 17-story bat size.
I had, like, a little one, like a little kid one, a little Louisville. I remember, yeah.
Yeah. The success, like, on a statewide, or like,
I don't
just
know,
in
like growing up, like, I'm always curious about where people come from, because, like, depending on where you're from, there's different levels of, like, what you see, like, wow, that person's doing really well. And not just money, just, like, an example, it could be a family. I don't know. I'm curious because it's so not the world I grew up in.
Right.
Curious what it is for you, if you could put a pin on it.
It's a really good question.
Are you just saying that because we're here? I don't know how good it is.
Because I've never thought about that.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, it's definitely
Well, because
weird.
I say it because in LA, you have one example of success everybody thinks is what life's
Fame,
about.
Yeah.
And it's so not like that in America and the world. So I like asking people because it's like where we come from and what we see is kind of how we constitute what matters. And then you change as you leave places, but that's ingrained in us growing up. Like success is nice cars, or is it a big family and big dinners all the time? Like what does it look like to you? And is it from like a lot of it's from where you're from, I think, like
Yeah.
how we grew up.
Yeah. Well, I guess to answer that and the little thought that I've put into it just now, I guess it was just, I had parents that were very hard workers, and, my mom worked in a hospital. My dad started his own insurance company, and they there was nothing exciting about it. It was like,
It was life.
it was life.
Yeah.
Everybody went to work. And if, you showed up, I never remember either one of them calling out sick or making an excuse. I don't even remember them complaining about it. Like they just showed up and did it. And money, wasn't an abundance of money. Like I grew up middle class. And I don't know. It was never, the ambition was just middle of the road. Like take care of your family, take care of yourself, show up, be a nice person. Be with the
family, yeah.
And give it your best, like kind of a thing. Like I didn't know anybody, and my uncle worked at Ford, so I just know everybody drove Fords.
That's cool. The family hookup. Nice.
That was the deal. Like you weren't. I remember my mom asked me, like, if you can have any car growing up, what would it be? And for some reason in my head, I was like, a Lamborghini. Because I think I saw one once. And I was like, a Lamborghini. Like, I always had those, like, kind of silver spoon dreams, of, like, I know the richest girl in my high school, she had a convertible Mustang at the time. I was like, that rich bitch, you know?
Seriously.
I had a Nissan, which Ford makes. And so, so I didn't have monetarily and all that kind of stuff. I never even thought about it. I never thought about, I always had visions as a kid that like I wanted to live in, very specifically, West Hollywood. Like very specific. Oh. Because I think I saw a postcard once, and there was like this like girl and a guy, and the girl had blonde hair, and I was like, "That's me." And they were in a red convertible, and they were driving over, and it said Hollywood, right? And there was like a sunset, and I was like, "I'm living there, bitch. I'm living there." So I for whatever reason, like I had that in my head. So when I made the decision to move out to LA from Chicago, like just where I was before I came here. It was just always a part of this, this internal young bud of a vision of like, that's where I'm gonna go.
How great and cool that you did it.
I know.
A lot of people have that vision and don't leave. A lot of people.
Yeah, I guess. I always knew I was gonna leave. I did know that.
That's cool.
I 100% knew that. That is the one thing. I was never comfortable. Like even in grade school. I've talked about this before. I talked about this a little on Tiger Belly because they were talking about kind of growing up in a pretty, what people would say, I would say pretty vanilla place. Like, and I, in grade school, I went to an all Catholic grade school and high school.
Me too. Look at us. Wow.
Okay.
I still wear my uniform home. And Christina's like, what are you doing? No,
I wish, dude. And you know what? Now, I hated it at the time, but I was like, I wish I just had a uniform to wear every day.
Yeah.
God, I'd have a lot more money.
I know, right?
Spend on clothes.
Same thing. I was that way for a while, actually. I just always wear a suit. Now that I think about it, I was just wearing my uniform. It's like, that's it. It's easy.
Well, that's good, though, that you do that.
High school.
Yeah.
That's it.
So
wait, so you went to Catholic grammar school and high school?
Both, yeah.
Okay.
But my uncomfortability was that I would always question, like I just saw everybody who looked like me.
Right.
Everybody's white, blonde, blue-eyed for the most part.
Right. Driving a Ford.
Driving a damn Ford, man. Yeah. And the guys wore khakis and like it was just same. And which, again, no problem with that. Like, that's amazing. I have, whatever. Like, if you're happy, great. Like, for me, I was always questioning. Like, I would look at people that were either different ethnicity, different religion, different anything, who had different ideals about something or how they looked. Like, I was always so intrigued. You know, I was intrigued in them. I was like, tell me about what your culture does. Please.
Yeah.
Where are you gonna go? You know, like I just wanted more, and I knew there was like a bigger, vaster, experience out there.
Sure.
Like that, and that's why, you know, when it was time for me to go to school, like to leave to go to college, I was like, Chicago. It was like the first big city.
Yeah.
You know, in like art school where all the freaks were. So
it's awesome.
like, bitch, let me at them.
I always wonder about like the Midwest and the country, how like if different ethnicities like were bussed in, like all walks of life, like if racism would be a little bit better because people, it's just so many people don't live amongst one another. Because I lived in New York so long, knowing what that's like to be like having life together with everybody, and just how people don't see other people and don't know. Like, it's crazy to me to think like the ignorance of that in a way. Not your upbringing, but I mean like that, like just the fact that people aren't together. Like it's such a good solver when you just are able to be with different people. I think we're similar. I'm so inquisitive about how everyone lives and how people tick or how people that like, I wish everyone could be more like that, and that would help that issue, I feel like, in the Midwest. Like, get everyone together. I'm not being rah-rah kumbaya right now, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I understand. And nothing wrong with... We need a little more rah-rah kumbaya.
Yeah, all right. Let's get the sage,
Shit's
guys.
getting hard.
Got the sage? Where is it? Where's it? I got the guitar. I got a little American
Jen
Pie.
sages me every morning.
Really?
before I
Oh,
get
my
up.
gosh.
Yeah, I'm that tainted and evil. I can't.
You get saged every day.
She's like, you need to cleanse this shit out. Yeah. I have to do a lot, to get even.
I think most people do.
I don't know. I
think so. It's good that you know that you have to do that.
I have to.
Right?
Yeah.
Take care of yourself, do things that help you, right?
Yeah.
As we get older, I think we figure out what those things are.
Yes.
I never wanted to look at any of that. It might be a man stereotype. It might be like an immaturity.
Yeah.
I look at it now. I'm forced to. I'm in a relationship. If
Don't
I'm not
do
in a
it.
relationship, I avoid the hell out of that. It's fun. It's easier.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To
I feel
be
like
single and not looking at anything in your life? Sure.
I used to talk about, I called it Bluebirds. Actually, there's a bluebird over there. I keep bluebirds around me always to remember to still see them when things get hard, because I always saw bluebirds in my life all the time.
Yeah.
Because I was avoiding anything that was difficult.
Seriously?
Yeah, it was like a Disney cartoon of bluebirds. Like, I would just have fun and like kind of not ever want to look at the hard stuff.
That's cool. And you feel like you do now?
I think I look at it more. I'm still an optimist though, but I like keeping bluebirds around. Remember to like still be naive and kind of optimistic about stuff too.
I need that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should take a bluebird.
I feel like I definitely seek ththose little signs a lot. Like I seek the bigger magical stuff in life. I do, because I don't ever, because I do have a really dark, more serious side. I do, like 100. I've had long bouts of depression. I still have that, like a lot. But I also have an extreme bright side, a light side, you know. So I really, and sometimes I have different, kind of chapters in my life which I'm more in the dark, which I'm a little right there right now, to be quite honest. But that's why it's like, why doing stand-up, why being up on stage, why creating, why, like, that's so vital, because when I'm doing that, like, this part is useful.
Right.
And almost it shallows it down.
Sure.
So it's not overwhelming to me, right? Like, that's why, like, I never want to get rid of that part of me, like the kind of morose, like not seeing the bluebird kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it keeps me seeking all the
Sure.
time of, like, of dissipating that part of me a little on a daily, not even like in the grand scheme, just on a daily basis.
Sure.
You
Well,
know what I'm
you
saying?
said it earlier, like cutting the air out of like with your family. It's
Yeah.
similar to how you do it for yourself. It sounds like, kind of with comedy and creative,
Yeah.
kind of loosening the air out of it,
Yeah.
the heaviness of it.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
But that little chisel pathway for that creative, right? Sure. But it's like, it's also, I see it as all a big one thing, but it's also, life can get very messy.
Yeah.
And tough. And sometimes I think that's what I get so much enthusiasm out of, like, living.
Yeah.
Because I can't figure this shit out. Like, I can't figure this earth is bananas. Like I
Yeah.
can't. It's so bonkers to me. The living experience. I know this is like I'm going off on a big like kind of big
No, you're
tangent.
fine. You're speaking my language. Sometimes I truly in my head go like, why do we just accept everything to be true sometimes? This sounds very stonerish, but like it's dark at night and bright during the days, and that's just how it is, and just that's fine. Like
Yeah.
we accept so many truths that's like if you really think about it, it's wild.
So crazy.
It's a wild experience we have here.
Yeah.
I feel like we're passing the joint around, like, man, and you're just like, dude, like
But
birds
I can
chirp.
go there. Like
Birds were dinosaurs,
Yeah,
dude.
man. This is why I don't even need to smoke weed. Like that's what I mean. I can go real.
You don't smoke weed.
I used to a lot.
I get
don't
that,
now.
but I don't know. I can't tell if it's southern or weed. Like you have a chill vibe.
Yeah. No, I used to smoke a lot. I don't. I haven't done anything for 20 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
congrats! That's awesome.
Thanks. But because of that, like there's also a severe hunger, I think,
Sure.
for me to. I'm not in to figure out the meaning of life. That's too much,
Yeah,
like. But I am innately interested in everything, like life. Like for instance, like not to go too heavy, but like my mom passed away not that long ago.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, but like, thank you. But like, it's also an opportunity, it's like, okay, here we go. Like, this is another kind of texture of life that has brought me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what am I going to do with this?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's like one of the, that happening is one of the things that's also kind of propelled me and accelerated this kind of fire in me.
Yeah.
Or rage, whatever, that like has been like, Sarah, enough is enough. Like, you stop trying to get everybody to like you and be so obsessed whether, they approve of you. Life is short. It's here. Like, fucking do it.
Right.
What are you, and it's almost like my mom was a great fire behind a lot of my creativity. Like, she was like my number one fan, biggest cheerleader, And so it's an interesting phenomenon that's kind of happened for me that like I feel like I've kind of taken on her spirit.
Oh, that's awesome.
And not in a like her ghost. Like,
Sure.
I mean that kind of almost just a tangible I can't even firework in me. That was hers.
Wow.
For me.
Yeah.
That's kind of allowed me to get out of the self-loathing and the self-pity and like all that kind of like bullshit I carry around to kind of have that I'm doing it.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
I'm fucking doing it.
Yeah.
Because that's I feel like I kind of took on her like gusto.
I love that for you.
That I never
awesome.
had
Yeah. We were
for
just saying
myself.
you were trying to be more abrasive. You're trying to shake some of the southern. Yeah. Sounds like your mom, that's helping with that now in a way.
Yeah.
And grief is obviously different for everybody, but I do relate to that idea where like, that's what I'm saying. I've been through some grief recently too, where it's an unhinged feeling. Like I'm more aggressive and abrasive also because it's like, who cares? F them. And I worry I go too far that way a little too, where I'm like too crazy and too wild and people like, but then again, who cares?
Yeah.
If we spend our whole lives worrying about what everyone thinks all the time, we're not really living.
Yeah.
That's what I've come to realize. It's like, and like from the comedy thing too, like you get competitive, you get in your head, like there's enough room for everybody. Go do your thing, go shine, however way you do it. Like I forget that all the time because we're so in between our ears a lot of the time. When it sounds like what you're describing your mom is beautiful. It's like a push.
Yeah.
It's a heart push.
It is.
More than a brain one, I feel like.
Yeah.
Does that make
Which
sense?
I'd like to spend more time in. Yeah, but I think social media has really totally screwed everybody. Like, it has for me, with the like going on and like looking what everybody else is doing and comparing yourself and so-and-so's doing this. It's such shit.
Are my butt pics making you
yes.
insecure? Yeah, I gotta, I like them. I like doing them. I like the feedback.
Yeah.
You saw the slow-mo one?
I did. And I was going to do it. And you did it.
I know. You're
and
like,
it's wow. Why am I even doing
Why?
this?
No, you're totally right. Look, I'm a parent now. We're just talking about like the measures of success, like what you see. Mm-hmm. I'm so scared to raise my daughters in this world of like, think about what they think is successful. Not even around you in culture. This person has this many likes. This person has this. This person, look at how great they look with 10 filters. That's how I'm supposed to look. No, but that's how it is, you know?
Yeah.
Do you know how many times you look awesome in person? I've seen your page. Thank God. You know how many people I've met in Hollywood where I see them online and they come, and this probably sounds so shallow as a guy, but I go, holy whoa, that's not you. Thank God I'm not on Tinder. I mean, I don't know how people do it. Like, right? Is this mean? I don't mean to be mean. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's so I worry about that stuff as a dad, to a girl dad in a way too, but all that stuff, social media, the compariness. I do wonder if our kids' generation are going to like kind of bubble out of it because they're going to kind of see how unhealthy all that is. Like, because when we grew up, we compared each other in playing it with what? With the bullies and stuff, but it wasn't like we had a measurement in our pocket that was like, oh, wait, look at, oh, wow, this. You know how many comedians I see now going viral, and I'm like, I could do that funny viral thing. It's like, well, whatever. We're all here to do our thing.
Yeah.
So you struck a chord with me now, and I hate saying this because at the same time, like we're doing our podcast, we want our clips to do well on social media.
Sure.
So it's like, how do you balance that now as creators? I don't know.
For me, like when I get that way, which I totally can get that way. Jen Rosenstein is here, who watches me take a spiral.
Yeah,
you know,
social spiral.
Oh, yes. Like I can 100%. It'll take my whole day. Mm-hmm. Sometimes a week. Mm-hmm. Sometimes a month. Like it's and that again. Like it has to get so painful for me that I'm like, that's enough.
Yeah.
You know, like. I never just wake out of bed and be like, you know what? I'm gonna be a better person. Like I have to get beat down, by my own behavior to be like, oh God, you got to change that. I forgot the question now, but
me too.
Isn't that great? But I did. But so I do get into that. But what helps me is is just staying in the work. When I'm actually doing the work, I don't care. I don't care.
It's right sizing the perspective of it.
Yes.
It doesn't matter as much, yeah.
Doesn't matter what the thing is. If I'm writing or if I'm painting or if I'm creating a character, if I'm actually doing, I have no worry in the world of what anybody else is doing. Because I'm in the action of actually doing it. So it doesn't matter.
That's great. I have to get off, like, I'm in an algorithm with, like, I let too much into my brain on my phone. Like, I literally read about a dozen murders a day minimum. I'll be like, whoa, he killed a whole family. Whoa, what else? Wow. Like, I mean, it's like a true crime. It's like we've blurred the lines. Love true crime. I'll binge it all day. Facebook News for me, the algorithm in Facebook News is truly like family murders. That's like literally what I read about. It's like so bad. And then like celebrity gossip, which I don't want to read. But what a weird sandwich. Like, oh, this guy killed her and Kim Kardashian's doing this. It's weird. We see too many things now. That's what I'm saying. We let too many things in. It's almost like they're going to sell glasses one day that like you can only see the phone a certain time. It's going to block it out. Or you can't read it. Or it's going to be in our heads. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's as simple as like I had my phone, right? And Jen was like, what's the address to come here again? And so I was like, oh, wait, let me go look. And so I went to go look at the Instagram message that you sent me. I was on my way, had my knapsack, was on the path to your house. But literally, I went and I saw something else on Instagram. That was a story, I don't know what it even was now, like something celebrity related. Yeah. Literally 5 minutes later, I am scrolling. I clicked on that. I clicked on the news thing that it came from. I clicked, like I had 7 clicks in there. Finally, before Jen was like, what is the address? And I was like, oh, yeah. That's what I didn't even know I was doing.
Yeah, hijacks our mind in a way. You just go, whoop.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's why I like doing this. This podcast is really spaced to be off our phones. I mean, it really has become that for me. Like, I mean, you could sit there on your phone if you want to, but like, I feel like it's like sacred. And stand-up's the same way. You don't see comics. Like, performing arts, the arts are some of the last things where like you can't really be like, on your phone. Even me, I watch a movie at the house. I'm like on my phone.
I know.
I'll even read about the trivia of the movie and stuff like as I'm watching it. Like what? So much information. So much info.
Jen will look up how much their net worth is.
I do that
while she's watching TV.
They're never true, the Google net worth, because I am worth a lot on Google and it's not real. And I don't know. I think I put mine there myself. I don't know why it's like that.
Well, I've never. Okay, I don't Google myself. Jen Googles me. She'll just take every once in a while. We'll Google.
I have done it for like reasons based on like my work, like something with, like I got a news article and I would Google to see if people wrote about it or something. But that's it.
Yeah. Well, Jen is obsessed with people's net worth. I don't know what it is. It's just something in her. She likes numbers, so she likes to know what people.
I feel like net worth is like Wikipedia height for short dudes, though. Like it's definitely fudged a little.
Totally fine. Well, I'll tell you how I know, because she put in my full name, Sarah Rose Hyland, right?
Yeah.
Full name. I've had 7 names since living in LA, but so stupid. So, and what came up was my net worth was like $2 million. I was like, bitch, like, what? No, it's not. What did you take the land that my home,
yeah.
like all of my childhood home and all the apartments we lived in?
That
did
might
you take
be the
all
Ford
of that?
dealership.
Do you take the
baked
Ford
into there.
dealership?
Yeah,
I am
uncle.
not kidding. $2 million in
I don't know
debt.
how they get that. Yeah.
In debt, yeah, I have no idea. And then she refreshed it, and it was like 600,000, which is even an overshot. You know, it's like, what? I don't even know. I'm like, did my mom put that in?
Yeah,
because that's something she would do. Yeah.
Hey, I mean, I sometimes look at mine just to feel better about myself. Like, oh, at least the internet thinks I'm doing well.
You do well, like that. You are doing well.
So are you.
You are. This is gonna be a fun game.
Oh.
Well, because when I go on your Instagram, no, you're killing it.
I'm trying. So are you.
You interviewed The Rock.
I did. What a shiny head that guy. You look great. Really nice head.
He's like
great.
the perfect human being. Even his teeth.
He really is. He makes you think, like, I've never experimented with men, but yeah, right. Once. The Rock.
Understandable.
Just for the story. You know? You
Sure,
smell what The Rock's cooking for breakfast.
Nobody would even fault you, man.
In my shirt? I don't know where this is going. Okay. I'm kidding. Why am I doing gay jokes? I don't know what's happening. No,
It's not gay if it's The Rock.
That's true.
So
it's just a moment.
It's just magical.
What I was attracted to you, it's a weird phrase also, but I mean, like, you're doing your podcast and you're doing such cool things. Like, I love the hustle and initiative you took with the new podcast. I saw you building the set. I see you doing such fun, unique interviews with great guests. It must be rewarding creatively, and I want to plug it for you here. This is like, you have a new podcast. This is a new podcast. It's fun to kind of like collaborate in that way, because it's just kind of new creative for us.
Yeah.
How does it feel? Also, you've been interviewing a lot the past few weeks. Does it feel good to be on the other side of it for now for a second?
It does, actually. I would much rather be interviewed than to be
Really?
the interviewer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's it going? How do you
I
feel about
love it though. I mean, I 100% love it. I think that's what I am in awe of what you do. I love watching people interview people.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. It's like you have to, one, because you're interviewing artists who have their own wiring happening.
Yeah.
But also too, like being the kind of person like you are, that you're a very so like when I first met you, the first thing you did was hug me.
Oh.
Not many people do that.
Really?
No.
You didn't consent to. I could get in trouble, but I just was ready for it.
I'm a hugger though.
Yeah, I was whatever.
I'm a hugger.
Me too.
I'm a toucher. I'm a connector.
Yeah.
For sure. And so I found that in some people, so you have to read it. You have to read it pretty quickly of like
social reading all the time.
what the mood is.
Mm-hmm.
How's the mood? You
Yeah.
know, like picking that up. And so people, especially with some of the artists who I've either haven't talked to in a long time, or the first time I'm meeting them. Like I just met Melissa for the first time
cool.
when she came on. But establishing like that opportunity for them to trust you.
Right.
Right? Like, because, you know, you want people to be open and vulnerable, but they also just met you. So it's like kind of finessing that aspect of you to be that kind of person, which I think naturally I am that kind of person, because I really don't have any ill will or bad motives for it. I really, honest to God, don't.
For sure.
Like, I just want you to feel good.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Like,
I'm the same.
Be comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I, you know, I just want that. But you know, establishing that pretty quickly, because you have usually like an hour and or 10 minutes before you do the interview to kind of like get them to where they feel comfortable talking.
Yeah.
You know?
It is an interesting thing. I think you're doing a great job on your show. So I
Thanks.
think you naturally have that. I think if you overthink it, it's when you kind of get in your head about questions. I'm being so almost too lax with this format because it's long form.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it because we're just like chilling and chatting.
Yeah.
But I think all interviews are great when they're that way. Like your show, like it shouldn't be put on at all. And people don't want that anymore anyway. They want you to be yourself with people. I think that. And the other thing I always tell people, like for me, I love my job and I love doing this because I try to stay connected to like the childlike wonder of me as a kid. And I think like I have kids now and I see it in my daughters, but I've always been that way as a person. And I don't think as adults we're really supposed to lose that like inquisitive nature.
Yeah.
So interviewing for me in a way is just like I've been able to stay a kid with people. And so when you meet, so I just met you, but I sort of can like see your, what's the analogy? I could see your like painting in my head a little bit about like how you are in your spirit. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I want to play with you there instead of like be like catch you or do something weird. Like I'd rather just meet you there and play with you. And that this sounds the creepiest analogy for interviewing I've ever said. I just like meet people in a spot and play with them with the lights off. And I'm a child.
Unzip their little chest and you walk right into there
and
you see what's going on.
But I'm saying for you interviewing, that's how I've always found it to be fun when you're just like a kid about it. And I think that's something that I try to remember with stand-up, with everything. Like have fun and be curious. Because we lose it as adults. That's why I picked this job. Let's fuck around. Let's jump on tables. My daughter, when we go to a restaurant, if she wants to jump on the tables, I'm like, go for it. Who cares?
Yeah.
They'll kick us out. So what? It's hilarious. Like I'm so far that way.
Yeah.
I think it's why lose that in a way, in my opinion, as adults. I don't know what I would do.
I've gone in and out with that. Like even with the interview thing, like naturally I love talking to people. Naturally I like to, I can converse with anybody. My dad he's very much that personality. I grew up with my dad. If you go to Louisville, everybody knows him. He knows everybody. He's an easy guy. He's friends with everybody.
He's like, the OG. I like it.
He loves everybody, has no, fences that you need to jump over. He's just like, what's up? Come in, So that naturally comes to me, but it's interesting doing the podcast, you start to question, like, should I have more serious questions? Should I be structured? Should I watch Oprah? Should I make them cry? Like, am I too lax? Am I asking too, you start going.
Yeah, overthink,
Overthinking. And then, the biggest one for me is like, God, I have these incredible artists.
Yeah.
Who I just think the world of and think they're so talented and they've have accolades and they have millions of fans. And my biggest thing is like, did I utilize their time the best way? Did I glean from them things that would be interesting to people listening, that would be helpful, that would be useful, that would, or make them laugh, or like, did I do the best that I could when I have Tiffany Haddish, the incredible, all of the things that she's done. And so that the hardest part for me, the doing it is not hard.
It's fine.
It's afterwards.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, oh, if I like watch it again, I'm like, I just said this to her. I was like, I had every opportunity to ask her a better question right in that moment, but I didn't do it. I didn't take it, So it's like, those are the things that it's like, all right, Hyland, you're getting a little too, of kind of policing myself and ripping the joy from it. Like, I can do that. Other people don't do that to me. Like, I'm the one, like, Jen or my producer at the Comedy Store, John, who, they'll be like, dude, it was great.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Well, it's a good muscle to have that kind of like make it better in the back of your mind. But at the same time, if you go too far, like you're gonna lose the luster of who you are and what makes it great, which is you.
Yeah.
It's just hard to accept that. Say like, no, I'm fun and people like it. We want the validation. I think even me with my interviews, I want people to tell me they're great. But like, if I think too hard about them, it's like taking out all the good part of the burger. Are you vegan too?
No.
All right, sorry about the vegan burger
no, I'm
analogy.
Not vegan.
The tofurkey burger. Hey, vegan jokes. I'm doing all the right material for you guys.
She appreciates it.
But no,
LA, am I right?
Hey.
Okay, am I right?
One of my opens is
I only do vegan jokes.
Oh, really? You should. That would hit well here. I make
Can you
pizza.
imagine? It kills in Tennessee.
I bet. Like, I came from LA with the vegans.
Yeah, they love it.
I know.
They love talking about therapy and crystals. Kills.
It's the best.
Kills.
South loves that.
Yeah, they do.
Nashville maybe is true now, though. I don't know. But other parts of the South, I don't know. It's still, yeah.
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 Meat and potatoes.
Meat and potatoes. That's a good lesson for me. See, I always learn something
Meat
from these.
and potatoes.
I love it. Well,
I still work on that, by the way.
I think
Because I don't feel like meat and potatoes.
Right.
Right? Like, there's things about me that I'm like, but I'm not meat and potatoes. I'm not. Like, I don't have kids. And I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm doing Owen Wilson again. Or I
You-
think I'm doing Melissa Villaseñor's impression of
There you
Owen
go.
Wilson.
Yeah,
Because I just talked to
It's
her.
rubbing off.
Yeah.
I think you could be meat and potatoes, but you have a really funny, quirky side dish on that plate, and that's how you are. I don't think you need to be put in a box, really.
Thank you.
I think we can name your side dish something really weird,
Yeah.
like I don't know why I was going to say barley. What is my problem? Because you're from Kentucky. What is
Barley?
Southern barley.
It's funny. I thought of like the like chicken and barley soup.
Chicken
That's
and
what
barley.
I thought.
Yeah.
I was like,
tumbleweed. I'm doing all the Southern cliches. A tumbleweed.
tumbleweed.
A hay.
Yeah.
No.
It's Texas, yeah. It's okay though.
Texas. I'm way off.
Yeah, we
Jersey.
don't-
Yeah. Sorry. It's It's
Don't be
the
sorry. I loved it.
cliche.
I like that you're talking in visuals because I usually do that.
Yeah.
And it can get a little out there. So I appreciate.
Well,
I could go all day with this with you.
Before you go, we're gonna say your meat and potatoes, but I want to give you your side dish. I just
Okay.
want to come up with it.
Okay.
How about like a really bright purple turnip?
Very southern. You
Huh?
did good.
Was that good?
Yeah.
Are they purple?
Yeah. Or yeah. Yes.
All right, that's
or
all
like
I'll say.
purple. They're fuchsia. Fuck it.
Fuchsia.
Who cares?
That's a good
You
color.
can make it any color you want.
Yeah, well,
How about
it's
that?
your plate. It's
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
It's
I
your,
like
and you're any
purple.
color you want.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay.
I want to make sure people check out your podcast. So tell me what it is, the social name. Not cool.
Not cool pod. Is
Tell
what
me
it is.
tell me about the name, by the way. Why not cool?
Now it should. Now I'm like, oh, it should be just cool, huh?
No, I like not
Yeah.
cool. It sticks out.
Well, yeah, coming up with a name of a podcast is a pretty heavy feat, actually, more than I thought. But I think John actually helped come up with that because it was kind of, we were like, oh, should it be like pop culture? Should it be? But I'm like, yeah, I mean, I like pop culture, but I'm not like, I don't want to have a whole podcast. Justin
Sure.
Martindale, shout out, has a great
He's
podcast
awesome.
on pop culture called Just Saying at Comedy Store Studios. But I think what for me, my own personal experience, like people, have commented for some other whatever reason, like, oh, you seem so cool, and I'm like, I'm not. I am not cool. Like I like dressing cool, or because it's like my style, and like I've always kind of like that's important to me. Or people, like, or other celebrities or friends of mine, or they're like, oh, they're probably so cool, huh? And you're like, I mean, yeah, there's stuff that's not cool about them,
Yeah.
So, like, so I like that thing of kind of the underdog almost.
Right.
But the underdog is the coolest thing, Like I think people comparatively try to be what they think is this like cool persona of like what they see or even, but it's also, I always love the underdog in the story. I love the one that has just shit wrong, like if I were to go to a little, a rescue spot and there were like a bunch of little puppies, I'd pick the runt with like one
Right.
ear.
Yeah.
I'm like, give me that one.
Yeah.
It has one leg.
Underdog. Yeah.
And no hair. Just a patch on the side of its nose. I want that one.
Yeah.
And it has, a buck tooth and braces on the bottom. Like, I like that guy.
Yeah.
And so, he's amidst like all the other like cool pups, but it's like, tell me your story.
Yeah.
Patchless, tell me.
Yeah.
So I kind of like, what I've done for most everybody is, when I have my guests on, eventually I ask like, I said, what's not cool about you? And it's their perception of what's not cool. Some have said like, stuff, superficial things like I don't do my laundry or like I have OCD or like, or something like that. But then it's also, just kind of getting to a little bit of the, underbelly of what we see.
Sure.
That like the humanity of everybody.
Sure. Yeah.
So I know that was a very long-winded. I'm a long-winded person.
I loved it.
everybody okay?
I finally broke the stand, but it's okay.
Like that.
Yeah.
Like that shit. Like, I like that shit.
Yeah.
I'm
See,
like, show me that shit.
This is your dog right here. Look at this.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
there's the filter, and the filter came off.
Well,
you
real
know?
life is not as polished as everyone tries to come off as it. So
Damn it.
I think that's an awesome concept for the show. And that's why it's doing well. It's a great, you're reminding people everyone's a person. That's important. you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, I don't know. Just I don't know. In a time of everything is so glossy, and I think it's either gonna go one way or the other. It's gonna continue to go that way, and people are gonna end up looking like fucking robots or transformers in the future.
Could happen.
Which totally could happen.
Right?
They'll just get chiseled out, and like the beauty community, like now that people are getting the fat sucked out of their face, which just 2 years ago it was putting fat in your face. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, can we get on board?
You put fat in the butt. Out of the face? Is that what they do now?
Yeah, that's what they were doing.
From the butt? No.
Sure. Yeah, they remove...
Out of the face to the butt, maybe.
No, they'll take fat from from a thigh. I don't like where women don't want it, and then they put it in their face.
Wow, interesting.
Correct. And now, today, it's about taking the fat out the face and sucking it in. But that's what I mean. And now people being like really thin. But just a week ago, it was about being voluptuous. It's like, I cannot fucking handle it.
Well, what I love about you, and I can tell with your energy, is you're you. And you continue to be you. And I will tell you, Sarah, you are cool.
Thanks, bud.
But I want people to check out the Not Cool podcast. Check her out. Follow her at Sarah Rose Hyland, right?
Close.
Damn me.
I know,
I'm a
but I'll tell you
professional.
what. No.
Did you change it?
I've said something wrong on my podcast. I've gotten titles wrong. I've gotten names wrong.
Oh, wait, I'll do another hosty take for you, even though I'm just going to use the whole thing continuous.
It's okay.
What is it?
Ask Jen. Everything. I say so many wrong things. So my personal Instagram is Sarah Hyland Rosenstein.
Oh,
right?
that's
But it's
right.
confusing because when you go to my page, it says Sarah Rose Hyland.
That's what it was.
You're correct.
Sorry, Rosenstein.
I've had to change my name many times. My legal name is Sarah Rose Hyland.
I love
That's
it.
my legal name.
My new daughter is Pixie Rose, so you know.
I saw that.
So I love that middle name.
I saw that. It's a
Yeah,
great. I never
it's a good
liked
one.
it growing up because
It's
it was
great.
my grandma's name.
My grandmother was Rosemary too. That's so funny.
So as a kid, you're like,
Yeah.
I'm old.
Yeah. Oh. All right, so we're gonna get it right. Sarah Hyland Rosenstein
Is the Instagram.
on Instagram, and check out the @NotCoolPod
Yep.
on Instagram as well. Thank you for hanging out with me on the couch too. This is a testament to you. We were strangers on the internet, and you showed up, and in LA, that means the world to me. Seriously.
You have no idea. I understand.
You know what I mean? So thank you for showing up and supporting this show, and we're happy to support yours. And everybody go check out her show.
And you'll have to come on my show.
Yeah, anytime. I'm not that cool. I have plenty of not cool things to tell you.
Good. Well, you're a great conversationalist.
Really, you too?
Yeah, you're a vibrant source of conversation.
Oh,
so
thank you. Did you feel? You said the thing about your guests feeling like you utilize, and I hope you feel that way here.
No,
your gift.
I appreciate the opportunity to talk and to ask other questions that are a little bit deeper than I think sometimes people do. So I appreciate it.
Oh, good. You know what's funny about this? Like, I've been interviewing so long, and I'm doing stand-up, and I do find the combos in this room have gotten like funny and deep, and I'm fine. I have no expectations with this. I'm like, we could get therapeutic. I wonder if this chair and that couch is setting up like a therapy dynamic in a way.
I will say,
Tell
it
me
does have a
everything.
little bit of that vibe, but
Yeah.
it's not bad. Like, it's a very comforting. Like, I feel very
I'm
comfortable.
glad. I'm gonna put some Freud books on the
do.
at the table.
And then I'm gonna write you a check.
Yeah. I'm just sorry. Yeah. I'm not that professional or good, but one day. But I do feel like we kind of get deep in here, which I like. I'm at a point in my life where why not? We should be able to talk about everything. You know?
Yes, I don't know. That to me is my latest in depth. That's
love
what how we began is how we're ending. Is that I decided to do a podcast because one, I enjoy people, but I also want to have I want to know more. I want to know more than what I see on Instagram. Like, just tell me the real shit. There's a story. Everybody's got a story.
For sure.
And so I've been so uncomfortable with myself for so long, hence all the characters, hence like all my props, which is not bad. It's fine.
It's great. Yeah, it's part of you.
But it wasn't, but now I'm just in a place where I'm like, I just want to be myself. This is what it is.
I love it.
There's everybody's, it's complicated just like everybody else's story.
Which is relatable and real.
Sure.
For our Instagram, can you hit us with a few wows to this camera because of the nature of music editing? We're just going to do a little Owen Wilson, Sarah remix for our clip for this episode. Make sure you listen to this episode. This was awesome. Here's Sarah and the new remix of Wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow. Wow. Wow. Huh? Wow. What?
That's
Wow. That was mine.
Perfect.